The first rule of xenodiplomacy was simple. Never assume you understand alien customs. The second rule was harder. Never speak when you think no one important is listening. I learned both rules on the same day. My name is Adrian Hale. At the time, I was just a junior linguistic analyst attached to humanity's first permanent embassy on the world of Velcara, a shimmering violet planet orbiting a twin star system. The Velcari were the first truly advanced species humanity had encountered. Not just starfaring, but ancient, regal, dangerous in the way old civilizations always are. They ruled through hierarchy woven into every gesture, every tone, every pause. Their society was structured like a living symphony. One wrong note, and the performer vanished from the stage forever. That morning, I was walking through the Hall of Reverent Echoes, the palace corridor that led to the Queen's grand audience chamber. My job was simple: calibrate translation drones for an upcoming summit. No politics, no spotlight, just quiet work. Or so I believed. The corridor itself was a cathedral of crystal and liquid light. Every footstep rang like a chime, echoing tenfold down endless arches. Hanging banners of translucent silk drifted in invisible currents. Statues of long-dead Velcari monarchs watched from their alcoves, tall and willowy, eyes of polished obsidian following every movement. I stopped at a balcony overlooking the Garden of Moons, where floating spheres of luminous water orbited flowering silver trees. Below, Velcari nobles moved in slow, deliberate patterns. Their bodies were elegant, for slender arms, digitigrade legs, long necks crowned with crests of iridescent feathers. Their skin shimmered in gradients of blues and violets. It was alien beauty refined into something unreal. And I was tired. I had spent 3 months studying Velcari phonetic layers. 3 months sleeping on synthetic mattresses, eating flavorless nutrient paste, listening to diplomats debate which direction to bow. I hadn't seen Earth's sky in half a year. I leaned against the balcony rail and exhaled. And that's when I saw her. A lone Velcari woman stood in the garden below, still as stone while others passed around her. She wore a gown of flowing white light, strands of golden filaments drifting from her crest. Her skin glowed with soft lilac hues, and her eyes, those enormous mirror-black eyes, were fixed upward, toward the palace.
Toward me.
I didn't know who she was. I assumed she was a lesser noble, perhaps a priestess or scholar. I whispered under my breath, barely audible. She must be beautiful. The words left my mouth and dissolved into the air. Behind me, the corridor chimed again. Another set of footsteps. Slower, heavier, commanding. I turned and froze. She stood there, not the woman in the garden, but the Queen of Velcara. Her presence was unmistakable. She was taller than any Velcari I had seen. Her crest flared upward like a crown of living aurora light. Her robes were blacker than space, embroidered with threads of starlight. Around her neck hung a chain of crystalline orbs, each containing swirling galaxies. Her forearms were folded, her posture relaxed. But her eyes locked onto mine with the weight of centuries. Every statue in the corridor suddenly seemed less threatening, because now the real ruler of this world stood directly behind me. Silence reigned for a long, unbearable moment. Then she spoke, not aloud, directly into my mind, as Velcari royalty preferred. Repeat what you said, human. My heart hammered against my ribs. Your Majesty, I was merely observing the garden and—
Repeat.
The words. Sweat formed along my hairline. My translator drone hovered nervously near my shoulder, its soft blue light flickering. I swallowed. I said, She must be beautiful. The queen tilted her head. And whom did you refer to? My mind raced. If I said the woman in the garden, I risked offending the queen, implying another Valkyrie surpassed her. If I said the queen herself, it might be seen as inappropriate familiarity, a breach of court decorum. Every diplomatic training simulation I had ever run failed to offer guidance for this situation. Finally, I chose honesty. The Valkyrie woman in the garden, Majesty. I did not know who she was. The queen stepped closer. Her towering frame cast a long shadow over me. You speak of beauty, a concept your species ties to mating, affection, hierarchy. Are you offering a compliment or making a judgment? I was depreciating what I saw. I said carefully, nothing more. Her gaze bored into me. Then, to my astonishment, she laughed. Not a cruel laugh, a melodic, bell-like sound that echoed through the corridor. You are refreshingly direct, human Adrian Hale. My breath caught. She knew my name. Of course she did. Queens know everything. Come, she said. You will accompany me to the garden. Your Majesty, I am on duty. I must calibrate. You will accompany me, she repeated. That was not a request. 2 royal guards appeared silently from the corridor shadows. Not threatening, but unmistakably there to ensure compliance. I nodded. Yes, Majesty. We descended to the garden by a spiral ramp of glowing crystal. The floating moon orbs drifted aside to make space as we stepped onto the silver grass. It felt like walking on cool silk. The lone Valkyrie woman still stood where I had seen her. When she noticed the queen's arrival, she immediately lowered herself into a kneeling bow, her forearms crossed over her chest. The queen regarded her. Rise, Lyraeth. The woman obeyed, her gaze low. This human believes you are beautiful, the queen said. I wished for the floor to swallow me. Lyraeth's crest shimmered with embarrassment, shifting colors like sunrise. The queen continued. Tell me, Lyraeth, what is your station? I am a star scribe, Majesty, Lyraeth answered softly. I record the movements of the outer systems. And are you beautiful? Lyraeth hesitated. In Valkyrie culture, self-affirmation of beauty was considered arrogance unless one was royal. No, Majesty, she said. I am as the cosmos shaped me. The queen turned to me. Human Adrian Hale. You claim she must be beautiful. Explain. Every eye, human and alien, was on me. I thought of Earth, of museums filled with paintings, of poets who compared lovers to stars, of the way humans found beauty in patterns, symmetry, light, life. So I spoke. On my world, I said, beauty is the harmony of form and feeling. When I saw Lyraeth standing alone among the moon gardens, surrounded by orbiting light, I saw balance, stillness, grace. It struck me as beautiful. Silence followed. Then Lyraeth lifted her eyes. Her black gaze reflected the orbiting lights like tiny galaxies. The queen studied both of us. Interesting, she murmured. Humans see beauty as perception, not rank. She circled me slowly, like a predator considering prey, or perhaps a sculptor inspecting clay. Your species is young, but your minds are flexible. I forced myself not to tremble. The queen stopped before me. Do you know what happens when a human speaks of beauty in my presence? I shook my head. In Valkyrie law, beauty spoken before royalty is a tribute. A tribute demands acknowledgement. My stomach dropped. I meant no disrespect, Majesty. None taken, she said. But tradition must be honored. She raised one of her arms and placed 2 elongated fingers lightly against my forehead. A pulse of warmth entered my skull. My vision flooded with light. Stars. Planets. nebulae, a throne of crystal orbiting a sun, a crown resting upon a head that was not mine. I gasped and stumbled backward. The queen lowered her hand. "I have marked you," she said. "From this day forward, you are recognized as a speaker of honest sight." Larieth inhaled sharply. The guards straightened in surprise. I had no idea what that title meant, but it sounded significant and dangerous. "What does that entail?" I asked carefully. The queen's lips curved in faint amusement. "It means you have spoken truth without fear. Such voices are rare in my court. You will now serve as an observer of human-Valkyrie relations. You will stand in councils. You will speak when others hide their thoughts." I stared at her. "Majesty, I am a junior analyst. I do not belong among your councils." "You belong where I place you," she said. And just like that, my quiet technical assignment ended. The following days passed in a blur. I was given new robes, human-sized but woven from Valkyrie light silk. I was escorted through halls I had never been allowed to enter. I attended meetings where ancient nobles debated matters spanning star systems. I sat beside ambassadors who looked at me with confusion and envy. Through it all, Larieth often stood nearby, recording events with crystalline tablets. Our eyes met occasionally. Each time, her crest shimmered faintly in soft hues. On the third day, the queen summoned me alone. Her private chamber was a vast dome open to the stars. The twin suns of Valkyra hung low on the horizon, painting everything in gold and violet. "Human Adrian Hale," she said, "you spoke of beauty honestly. Tell me, what else does your species see clearly?" I hesitated. This was a monarch who could command fleets. Words could shift destinies. So, I chose another truth. "Majesty, humans fear the unknown, but we also embrace it. We believe strength is not only in power, but in understanding. We wish to stand beside others, not beneath them." The queen's gaze softened. "You seek equality with giants," she said.
Brave.
"Or foolish." "Both, perhaps," I admitted. For the first time, the queen laughed warmly. "Then you will be useful to me." She stepped closer. "Our empire expands. Our vassals obey out of fear. But fear breeds rebellion. Understanding breeds loyalty. Teach me how humans inspire unity without domination." I blinked. "You want me to advise you on ruling an interstellar empire?" "You spoke beauty into truth. Now speak truth into power." I exhaled slowly. "I will try, Majesty." Months passed. Under my guidance and Larieth's constant presence, the queen began subtle changes. She invited open forums, allowed lower castes to speak, introduced exchange programs with human scientists. Valkyrie society began to shift slowly, cautiously, but undeniably. Some nobles resisted. One night, an assassination attempt struck the palace. Energy blades in the shadows. Screams in the halls. I was dragged to safety by Larieth as guards battled in flashes of violet plasma. When the dust settled, the queen stood unharmed amid fallen conspirators. She looked at me across the chaos. "Your presence threatens those who cling to old order," she said. "This means your influence works." I shivered. "That wasn't my intention." "Impact often exceeds intention," she replied. The turning point came a year later, during the Convocation of Stars, a gathering of every Valkyrie house and allied species. The queen addressed them from her crystalline throne, and she called for me. I walked forward, heart pounding, before an audience of thousands of alien nobles and ambassadors. "This human once whispered of beauty," the queen announced. And in that whisper, truth was born. He showed us that perception, not rank, defines worth. that honesty builds bridges where fear builds walls. She lifted her arms. Therefore, I declare a new era. No voice shall be silenced by station alone. No truth dismissed by origin. Let Valkyra rise not through domination, but through unity. The hall erupted in luminous applause, crests flaring, light banners swirling. Lyraeth stood among the scribes, her eyes shining like reflected starlight. And I realized something profound. A careless whisper, spoken by a tired human leaning on a balcony, had changed the course of an empire. Later, as the celebrations faded, I returned to the Garden of Moons. Lyraeth waited there. "You changed everything," she said softly.
"I didn't," I replied.
The queen chose to listen. Lyraeth smiled. "On Valkyra, the one who speaks truth creates the moment. The ruler merely shapes it." We stood in silence, watching the moon orbs drift. Then I looked up at the palace balcony where it all began. "I whispered, she must be beautiful," I said. Lyraeth tilted her head. "And then you realized the queen was behind you." We both laughed. Far above, in her starlit chamber, the queen watched the garden from her throne. And for the first time in Valkyrie history, an ancient ruler whispered softly to herself, "Humans must be remarkable.